The boot came down on the puppy's leg. The crack echoed through the room like a gunshot. Elena Vasquez screamed, tied to the chair, watching helplessly as the cartel soldier lifted Shadow by the scruff and threw him against the wall. Her 7-year-old daughter Sofia was hiding somewhere in the house, silent, terrified. Luna whimpered in the corner, too afraid to move. "Tell us where the files are," Carlos Reyes said calmly, "or the other one dies next." 8 months after burying her husband, Elena was about to lose everything he'd left behind. But miles away, a Navy SEAL and his K9 were already moving toward the screams. Before we continue, hit subscribe and follow this story until the very end. Drop a comment telling me which city you're watching from. Let's see how far this story travels. The night had been quiet until it wasn't. Elena Vasquez sat in the living room with Sofia curled against her side, both of them watching Luna and Shadow wrestle over a rope toy. The puppies were 4 months old now. German shepherds with that clumsy, oversized paw energy that made Sofia giggle every time they tumbled over each other. "Mama, Shadow's winning. Shadow always wins," Elena said, smoothing her daughter's dark hair. "He's the protector. Like Papa was." The question hit Elena somewhere deep. 8 months since Miguel's funeral. 8 months of learning to breathe around the absence. 8 months of raising their daughter alone in this remote New Mexico farmhouse that suddenly felt too big and too empty. "Yes, baby, like Papa was." Luna finally wrestled the toy free and pranced around the room victorious. Shadow flopped onto his back tongue, lolling perfectly content to let his sister have this one. These puppies were Miguel's last gift. He'd arranged everything before he died: the breeder, the timing, the delivery. Elena had found the paperwork in his desk drawer a week after the accident. "They'll protect you when I can't," he'd written in a note tucked inside. "Train them well, love them always, and remember, I'm never really gone as long as they're with you." Elena had cried for 3 hours after reading those words. Now, the puppies were her anchor, hers and Sofia's, the only thing that made this isolated house feel like home instead of a prison. The crunch of gravel outside shattered the peace. Elena's head snapped toward the window. Headlights cut through the darkness, multiple vehicles, moving fast. "Mama." "Shh." Elena was already on her feet, her heart hammered against her ribs. "Sofia, go to your room, now." "But..." "Now, baby, hide in the closet. Don't make a sound. Don't come out until I say so." The fear in her mother's voice worked better than any argument. Sofia ran her footsteps, disappearing down the hallway. Elena grabbed her phone. Dialed 911. The front door exploded inward before the call connected. 3 men. Black clothing, weapons drawn. The leader was tall, angular, with eyes that held no warmth. Behind him, 2 soldiers built like slabs of concrete. Elena's phone clattered to the floor. "Mrs. Vasquez." The leader's voice was calm, almost polite. "We need to have a conversation about your husband." "My husband is dead." "Yes, unfortunately. But the things he knew, the things he documented, those are very much alive." He stepped closer. "Where are the files?" "I don't know what you're talking about." The leader, Carlos, one of the men called him, smiled. It wasn't a pleasant expression. "Search the house." The 2 soldiers moved past him. Elena heard them tearing through rooms, breaking things up, ending furniture. She thought of Sofia hiding in the closet and prayed her daughter stayed silent. The puppies had retreated to the corner. Shadow stood in front of Luna, trying to be brave despite his trembling legs. 4 months old and already protecting his sister. Carlos noticed them. "German shepherds. Your husband's..." Elena didn't answer. "He had good taste. These dogs, they're loyal, protective." Carlos walked toward the corner. "But loyalty can be a weakness. It gives people like me leverage." "Don't touch them." "Then tell me where the files are." "I don't know. Miguel never told me anything about his work. He said it was safer that way." Carlos studied her for a long moment. I believe you don't know where they are, but I also believe you have access to them. Your husband was careful. He would have left insurance. He turned to his men. Bring me the puppies. No. Elena lunged forward. One of the soldiers caught her, threw her back into a chair so hard it nearly tipped over. Tie her up. They bound her wrists to the chair arms, her ankles to the legs. Professional. Quick. They'd done this before. Shadow was growling now, a puppy's attempt at intimidation that would have been adorable under any other circumstances. Carlos reached down and grabbed him by the scruff. Don't, please. Where are the files? Mrs. Vasquez. I told you I don't know. Carlos looked at the soldier nearest to him. Nodded. The boot came down on Shadow's hind leg. The crack was sickening. The puppy's scream was worse. Elena's scream was loudest of all. Stop! Stop it! Carlos held the injured puppy by the scruff, watching him writhe and whimper. Shadow's leg hung at an unnatural angle. Broken, maybe shattered. Every hour you stay silent, we hurt something you love. Carlos dropped Shadow carelessly onto the tile floor. The puppy collapsed, crying, trying to crawl away on 3 legs. Your daughter is hiding somewhere in this house. Would you like us to find her? No. Elena was sobbing now. Please. I'll tell you everything. I'll help you find whatever you're looking for. Just don't hurt my daughter. Don't hurt the dogs anymore. Now we're making progress. Carlos pulled a chair over, sat down across from her like they were old friends having coffee. Your husband worked at the port, logistics, shipping routes. He started documenting irregularities about 2 years ago. We didn't know about it until after his death, when certain files began appearing in places they shouldn't. Miguel never told me. I believe you, but he gave you something. A key, a password, a location, something that would let you access his insurance policy if anything happened to him. Elena's mind raced. Miguel had been secretive in his final months, working late, taking calls in private. She'd assumed he was having an affair. The guilt of that assumption still burned. But there was something. A flash drive, hidden in Sophia's teddy bear. Elena had found it when cleaning Sophia's room a month after the funeral. She'd assumed it was just photos. Miguel was always taking photos of Sophia and had meant to look through it eventually. She'd never gotten around to it. I see it in your eyes, Carlos said. You just remembered something. No. Don't lie to me, Mrs. Vasquez. Not when your daughter's life depends on your honesty. Somewhere in the house, a floorboard creaked. Everyone froze. Carlos's eyes narrowed. Find the girl. No! One of the soldiers moved toward the hallway. Elena thrashed against her restraints. The rope bit into her wrists, drawing blood, but she didn't care. Her daughter. They were going to find her daughter. Please, I'll tell you everything. Just leave her alone. Carlos raised a hand. The soldier stopped. Talk. There's a flash drive, in my daughter's room, inside her teddy bear. The brown one with the blue ribbon. Miguel hid it there. Carlos smiled. See, cooperation is much simpler than resistance. He nodded at the soldier. Get it. The man disappeared down the hallway. Elena held her breath. Sophia's room was at the end of the hall. The closet was small, but Sophia was smaller. If she stayed quiet, if she didn't move. Seconds stretched into eternity. The soldier returned. He was holding the brown teddy bear in one hand and a small flash drive in the other. No, Sophia. Elena nearly collapsed with relief. Is this it? Carlos took the drive, examined it. We'll need to verify the contents. My people will check. He stood, straightened his jacket. What happens now? Elena's voice was hoarse from screaming. Now we wait. My tech specialist will arrive within the hour. If this drive contains what we're looking for, we'll leave. If it doesn't... He glanced at Shadow, still whimpering on the floor. There are many ways to encourage cooperation. He barked orders in Spanish. 2 men would stay with Elena. The others would secure the perimeter. Carlos walked toward the door. Your husband should have stayed out of our business, Mrs. Vasquez. He would still be alive. You would still be happy. And these puppies would still be whole. You killed him. The realization hit Elena like a physical blow. The car accident. It wasn't an accident. You killed Miguel. Carlos paused at the threshold. Your husband made choices. Dangerous choices. He documented shipping routes he shouldn't have known about. He identified personnel he shouldn't have been able to identify. He created an insurance policy that now threatens very powerful people. He turned back to face her. Yes. We killed him. And if this drive doesn't contain everything we need, we'll kill you too. We'll kill your daughter. We'll kill these dogs. His voice never rose above conversational. That's the cost of your husband's heroism. His family pays for his courage. He walked out. The door closed behind him. Elena sat in the silence, bound to a chair surrounded by the wreckage of her home. Shadow whimpered at her feet, leg shattered. Luna cowered in the corner, too frightened to move. And somewhere in a closet, her 7-year-old daughter was hiding from monsters. Miguel was dead because he'd tried to be brave. Now Elena was going to die because he'd succeeded. Miles away, Marcus Cole was running. Not from anything. Toward nothing in particular. Just running because running was the only thing that quieted the noise in his head. Medical leave. That's what the Navy called it. 3 months to process and recover after the last deployment. The one where everything went wrong. The one where Marcus made a choice that saved his team and killed 12 civilians. Collateral damage. That's what the after-action report called them. Marcus called them ghosts. They visited him every night. Children mostly. Women. People who'd been in the wrong place when the building came down. People who'd trusted that American soldiers meant safety. People he'd killed with a single decision. So he ran. Through the desert hills outside Las Cruces. Through the heat that would have broken lesser men. Through the memories that wouldn't let him sleep. Titan ran beside him. 90 pounds of sable German Shepherd, every muscle perfectly conditioned, every sense razor sharp. Titan wasn't just a dog. He was Marcus's partner, his shadow. The only living thing that understood him without needing explanations. They'd served 4 deployments together. Titan had saved Marcus's life at least 6 times. Marcus had carried Titan out of a bombed building in Mosul, the dog's leg shattered by shrapnel, both of them bleeding, neither willing to leave the other behind. The leg had healed. Mostly. The bond had only grown stronger. Now they ran together in the darkness, 2 warriors trying to outpace their demons. Marcus pushed harder. Titan matched his stride without effort. They crested a ridge, the desert spreading out below them like a sea of shadows. That's when Titan stopped. The dog's ears pivoted forward. His body went rigid. Every muscle tensed with a focus Marcus recognized instantly. Alert. Threat detected. What is it, boy? Titan's head turned toward the northeast. His nostrils flared. A low growl rumbled in his chest. Marcus listened. The desert was never truly silent. There were always insects, whined the distant call of coyotes. But underneath those familiar sounds, screaming, faint, miles away, carried on the wind, a woman's scream. Marcus's training kicked in before conscious thought could interfere. Direction northeast, approximately 3 miles. Terrain, rolling hills, sparse vegetation. One structure visible on satellite imagery, a farmhouse he'd passed on previous runs. Titan. Track. The dog was already moving. They ran faster now, covering ground with the efficiency of predators who'd spent years learning to close distance silently and quickly. Marcus's mind was calculating civilian distress, isolated location, multiple vehicles based on the dust trails he'd spotted earlier, likely hostile situation. He should call it in. Alert local law enforcement. Follow protocol. But the screaming was getting worse, and something in Titan's posture told Marcus they didn't have time for protocol. They reached the ridge above the farmhouse in 12 minutes. Marcus dropped to a prone position, Titan silent beside him. His eyes adjusted to the darkness, picking out details. 3 black SUVs. 6 men visible on the perimeter. 2 more inside based on the movement he could see through the windows. Professional setup, these weren't amateurs. Cartel. Had to be. This close to the border with this level of operational security, nothing else made sense. Through the window he could see a woman tied to a chair. Young, slender, dark hair. She was crying. And on the floor beside her 2 small shapes. Puppies. One of them moving erratically, clearly injured. Marcus felt something shift in his chest. He didn't know this woman. Didn't know her story. Didn't know what she'd done or hadn't done to bring cartel soldiers to her door. He knew she was helpless. He knew there were puppies being hurt. He knew that somewhere in that house, based on the toys he could see scattered near the door, there was probably a child. And he knew that if he walked away, they would all die. 8 tangos visible, he murmured to Titan. Probably 2 more inside. Heavily armed. Professional. The dog's eyes never left the farmhouse. We're outgunned. No backup. No comms with friendlies. Marcus ran through the tactical options. Most of them ended with him dead. Smart play is to fall back. Call it in. Wait for proper response. Titan looked at him. In the dog's eyes, Marcus saw something he hadn't seen in months. Clarity. This wasn't a mission with political complications and unclear objectives. This wasn't a situation where the enemy hid among civilians. This was simple. There were bad men hurting innocent people, and Marcus could stop them, or die trying. Hell with it. Marcus began moving down the ridge. Titan followed like a shadow. Elena had stopped crying, not because the fear had faded, because she'd run out of tears. The 2 guards watched her with bored indifference. They'd seen this before, the terror, the sobbing, the desperate pleas. It was just another night's work for them. Shadow had stopped whimpering. He lay on the tile, panting, his broken leg splayed at an angle that made Elena's stomach turn. Luna had crawled over to him, pressing her body against his, trying to offer comfort she didn't understand. The clock on the wall showed 11:47 p.m. Carlos's tech specialist was supposed to arrive at midnight. 13 minutes until Elena found out if she and her daughter were going to live or die. She thought about Sophia, still hiding in the closet, 7 years old. She'd already lost her father. Now she was listening to her mother scream while monsters tore apart their home. If they survived this, when they survived this, how many years of therapy would it take to undo this night? A soft click from somewhere outside. One of the guards straightened, touched his earpiece. K repeat static. No response. The guard exchanged a glance with his partner, drew his weapon. Stay here. Watch her. He moved toward the front door. Elena's heart rate spiked. Something was happening. Something the guards hadn't expected. The front door opened. The guard stepped outside. 3 seconds passed. Then a sound Elena would never forget. A low, guttural growl followed by a sharp cry of pain cut short almost immediately. The remaining guard spun toward the door, weapon raised. He never saw the shadow that came through the back window. One moment he was standing. The next 90 pounds of German Shepherd hit him from behind, jaws closing on his weapon arm with surgical precision. The gun clattered to the floor. The guard screamed. A man appeared in the doorway. Tall, dark hair, moving with a fluidity that spoke of years of training. He crossed the room in 3 strides, and the screaming guard went silent with a single precise strike. Titan released his grip, stood over the unconscious body, not even breathing hard. Marcus scanned the room. Woman tied to chair secured. 2 puppies, 1 injured, but alive. Interior clear. How many inside? Elena stared at him. Couldn't find words. Ma'am, how many men were inside the house? 2, just 2. But there are more outside. 6 more. And their leader Carlos, he left, but he's coming back. I counted 8 total. 2 neutralized, 6 remaining. Marcus was already moving, pulling a knife from his belt, cutting through Elena's restraints. Is there a child in the house? My daughter, Sophia. She's hiding in the closet in her bedroom. Which room? End of the hall. Please, you have to. I'll get her. You stay here. Stay low. Don't move until I come back. He disappeared down the hallway. Titan remained positioning himself between Elena and the door. The dog's eyes never stopped moving, scanning entry points, assessing threats. Elena dropped to the floor beside Shadow. The puppy whimpered at her touch. I'm here, baby. I'm here. Luna pressed against her, trembling. 30 seconds passed. A minute. Then footsteps in the hallway. Marcus emerged carrying Sophia. The little girl had her face buried against his shoulder, her arms locked around his neck. Mama. Baby. Marcus set Sophia down, and she ran into her mother's arms. Elena held her so tight, she worried she might crack ribs. We need to move, Marcus said. My truck is half a mile north. Can you walk? The puppies. We take them. Shadow's leg is broken. He can't. Marcus was already kneeling beside the injured puppy. His hands were surprisingly gentle as he examined the damage. Fractured, not compound. He'll live, but he needs a vet. He pulled off his jacket, wrapped it carefully around the puppy, creating a makeshift splint and carrier. I'll carry him. You carry the other one. The girl walks between us. Who are you? Someone who heard you screaming. He stood, shadow cradled against his chest. Questions later. Moving now. They made it 3 steps toward the back door before the first shot shattered the window. Marcus shoved Elena and Sophia to the floor, covered them with his body. Glass rained down around them. Contact front. He was already moving, pulling them toward the kitchen. Back door. Go. More shots. The walls exploded in plaster and splinters. Titan was barking now, sharp, controlled alerts. Not panicked. Professional. They made it to the kitchen. Marcus kicked open the back door. 3 men in the yard. Weapons up. Down! Elena hit the ground, pulling Sophia with her. Luna yelped and squirmed in her arms. Marcus didn't have a gun. Didn't need one. He let out a single sharp command, Titan, attack! The German Shepherd launched like a missile. What happened next was too fast for Elena to track. Titan hit the first man before he could aim, jaws closing on his weapon hand, dragging him down. Marcus was already moving, closing distance on the second man, using the momentum of the charge to turn the soldier's own weapon against him. The third man fired, missed, fired again. Marcus twisted, let the bullet pass, and struck with devastating precision. 3 men, 8 seconds, all down. Move! Now! They ran. Elena had never moved so fast in her life. Sophia's hand in hers, Luna clutched against her chest, following this stranger through the darkness, toward a truck she couldn't see. Behind them, shouts. More gunfire. Keep running! Marcus was beside her, shadow still cradled in his jacket, Titan covering their retreat. The dog moved like a ghost, appearing and disappearing in the darkness, always between them and the threat. The truck appeared ahead. Old. Battered. Perfect. Marcus threw open the passenger door. Get in, all of you. Floor. Stay down. Elena bundled Sophia inside. Climbed in after. Pressed herself and her daughter against the floorboards. Marcus placed Shadow on the seat beside them, with impossible gentleness. Then he was behind the wheel, Titan leaping into the bed, and the engine roared to life. They tore across the desert. Behind them, headlights flared. Pursuit. Hold on. Marcus drove like he fought, with complete control and zero hesitation. The truck bounced over terrain that should have been impassable, somehow finding paths in the darkness that Elena couldn't see. The pursuing headlights fell behind, faded, disappeared. 5 minutes, 10, 15. Finally, Marcus spoke. We're clear, for now. Elena lifted her head. Sophia was pressed against her, shaking. Luna had stopped struggling and was simply trembling. Shadow whimpered softly in his jacket cocoon. Who are you? Elena asked again. Marcus didn't take his eyes off the road. My name is Marcus Cole. Navy SEAL. I was running in the hills when my dog heard you screaming. He glanced at her briefly. Those men who attacked you, they're cartel. Professional. They'll regroup and come looking. We need to get somewhere safe before they do. I have nowhere to go. They know where I live. They know everything. Then we find somewhere they don't know. Marcus's voice was calm, certain. I have a cabin, off the grid. We can hold there until we figure out our next move. Why are you helping us? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Because I heard screaming and I couldn't walk away. He paused. Because there were puppies being hurt and a child being threatened. Because sometimes the only thing standing between innocent people and monsters is someone willing to fight. He looked at her then, really looked. I've made a lot of choices in my life, some good, some I'll never forgive myself for. But tonight, helping you, this feels like the right choice. Maybe the first right choice I've made in a long time. Elena didn't know what to say, so she said the only thing that mattered. Thank you. Marcus nodded. In the back of the truck, Titan stood watch over the darkness they'd left behind. And somewhere in that darkness, Carlos Reyes was already planning his next move. The call came at 2:47 a.m. Carlos listened without speaking. His face betrayed nothing. How many? 3 wounded, 2 unconscious, all disabled without firearms. 1 man did this. 1 man and a dog. Military, had to be. The way he moved, the way the dog responded, this wasn't a civilian. Carlos ended the call. He stood in the darkness thinking. Miguel Vasquez had been a problem. A persistent, clever problem who documented things he shouldn't have seen and created backups in places the cartel was still discovering. Now his widow had become a different kind of problem. One with protection they hadn't anticipated. Carlos made another call. We have a complication. Military involvement. Possibly special operations. Handle it. I'll need more men. You'll have them. But understand, the files must be recovered. The woman is secondary. If the military protector becomes too problematic, eliminate him first. And the daughter? A pause. Leverage. Keep her alive as long as she's useful. Carlos smiled. The hunt was just beginning. The cabin materialized from the darkness like a ghost. Marcus killed the headlights a quarter-mile out, navigating by memory and moonlight. Elena watched him work his hands steady on the wheel, his eyes scanning constantly, even though there was nothing to see but shadows. We're here. Sophia had fallen asleep against Elena's shoulder, somewhere in the last hour. The little girl's face was streaked with dried tears, but her breathing had finally settled into something resembling peace. Small mercies. Marcus stepped out first. Titan jumped from the truck bed, immediately beginning a perimeter sweep. The dog moved in widening circles, nose to the ground, ears rotating like satellite dishes. Stay in the truck until Titan gives the all-clear. Elena didn't argue. She'd learned in the past few hours that this man knew things she didn't. Survival things. Fighting things. Things that had kept them alive when they should have died. 2 minutes passed. Titan returned to Marcus's side. Sat. His tail wagged once. Clear. Let's move. They carried Sophia inside together. Marcus took Shadow still wrapped in his jacket, his movements impossibly gentle for a man who'd just incapacitated 8 armed soldiers with his bare hands. Luna trotted beside Elena, pressing against her leg, too traumatized to leave contact. The cabin was small, sparse, the kind of place that existed for function rather than comfort. Bedroom through there. Put your daughter down. I'll work on the puppy. His leg. I've set bones in the field before. Not ideal, but better than nothing. Marcus was already pulling supplies from a cabinet. First aid kit, splints, painkillers designed for dogs. I keep veterinary supplies here. Titan gets injured sometimes during training. Elena carried Sophia to the bedroom, laid her on the bed, covered her with a blanket that smelled like cedar, and something else, loneliness maybe. When she returned, Marcus had Shadow on the kitchen table. The puppy whimpered as Marcus examined the break. "It's bad, but clean. No bone through the skin." He looked at Elena. "I can splint it properly, give him pain medication, but he needs a vet within 48 hours, or he might lose the leg. Do what you can." She watched him work. His hands moved with precision, cleaning the wound, aligning the bones, wrapping the splint. Shadow cried once, a sharp yelp that made Elena's heart clench. Then it was done. He needs to rest, no movement for at least 6 hours. Marcus lifted the puppy carefully, carried him to a corner where he'd arranged blankets into a makeshift bed. Luna immediately curled up beside her brother. Elena felt tears threatening again. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. We're not safe. Those men, they'll regroup. Call for reinforcements. We probably have 12 hours, maybe less, before they find us." "How can you know that?" "Because that's what I would do." Marcus moved to the window, checked the locks, checked them again. "They're Cartel, professional. The man leading them, the one who hurt your puppy, he's not going to stop because he lost a few soldiers. He's going to escalate." Elena sank into a chair. The adrenaline was fading now, leaving behind a bone-deep exhaustion she'd never experienced before. "Why is this happening? I'm nobody. I run a dog rescue. I grow flowers. I don't know anything about cartels or drugs or your husband." The words hit her like a slap. "What about Miguel?" Marcus turned from the window. His eyes held something she hadn't seen before. Knowledge. "While you were putting Sophia to bed, I made some calls. Old contacts. People who can access information quickly." He paused. "Your husband didn't die in a car accident, Elena. He was murdered." She'd known. Somewhere deep down, she'd known since Carlos said those words in her living room. But hearing it confirmed why. Because he was documenting cartel shipping routes through the port where he worked. He identified personnel, tracked shipments, built a case that could have brought down a significant portion of their U.S. operation. Miguel was working with law enforcement. FBI. Undercover informant for almost 2 years. He was building something massive: names, routes, bank accounts. Everything they needed to dismantle the network. Elena couldn't breathe. Miguel. Her quiet, kind Miguel who loved architecture and gardens, and their daughter more than anything in the world. Who spent his evenings drawing blueprints and his weekends teaching Sophia to ride a bike. A secret agent. "I didn't know." Her voice was barely a whisper. "He never told me." "He was protecting you. The less you knew, the safer you were." Marcus moved to sit across from her. "But he left insurance. A dead man's switch. If anything happened to him, the evidence would start appearing in places the cartel couldn't control." "The flash drive. That's part of it. But based on what my contact found, there's more. Much more. Hidden in encrypted servers triggered by specific conditions." Marcus leaned forward. "The cartel doesn't just want that flash drive, Elena. They want to know how to stop everything Miguel set in motion. And they think you know how. I didn't know any of this until tonight." "I believe you, but they don't. And even if they did, they'd still need to eliminate you. You're a loose end. A potential witness. Someone who might remember something useful without realizing it." Elena thought of Sophia, asleep in the next room, 7 years old. "My daughter. Is leverage. They'll use her to make you cooperate. And once they have what they need..." Marcus didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. "What do we do?" "First, we survive the night. Tomorrow I contact someone who might be able to help." He stood, walked back to the window. "There's a man named Jackson Reed, former SEAL, runs private intelligence now. If anyone can figure out how to use what Miguel built against the people who killed him, it's Jackson. And if he can't, then we run. New identities, new location, disappear so completely that the cartel never finds you." Elena looked at the puppies curled together in the corner, at the bedroom where her daughter slept. at this stranger who'd risked his life for people he didn't know. "Why are you doing this? Really? You could have left after getting us out, called the police, walked away." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. 7 months ago, I led a mission in Yemen. Bad intelligence, wrong target. We hit a building we thought was a weapons depot. It was a school. Elena felt her stomach drop. 12 civilians died. 7 of them children. His voice was flat, controlled. The voice of a man describing someone else's nightmare. "I gave the order. I made the call. And those kids died because I trusted information that turned out to be wrong. That wasn't your fault. It was my responsibility. Same thing." He turned to face her. "I've spent 7 months trying to outrun that night, running literally, physically, miles and miles through the desert, because I couldn't sleep and couldn't sit still and couldn't figure out how to live with what I'd done." He looked at the puppies, at the bedroom door. "Then I heard you screaming, heard that man breaking your puppy's leg. And I thought, here's something simple. Here's something clear. Bad men hurting innocent people. No ambiguity, no politics. Just someone who needs help." His jaw tightened. "I couldn't save those kids in Yemen. Maybe I can save your daughter. Maybe that's not redemption, but it's something. It's a reason to keep breathing." Elena understood then. They were both broken. Both running from things they couldn't escape. Both looking for something that might make the pain bearable. "Thank you, Marcus." "Don't thank me yet. The hard part hasn't started." Titan appeared in the doorway, ears up, alert. Marcus was on his feet instantly. "What is it, boy?" The dog moved to the front window, stared into the darkness. "Company." Titan's growl was answer enough. Marcus killed the single lamp. Darkness swallowed the cabin. "Get Sophia. Take the puppies. There's a cellar door under the rug in the bedroom. Go down. Stay quiet. Don't come out until I come get you." "Marcus. Go. Now." Elena didn't argue. She grabbed Luna, scooped up Shadow as gently as she could, and ran to the bedroom. Sophia stirred as Elena lifted her. "Mama?" "Shh, baby. We need to hide again. Like at home. Can you be brave for me?" Sophia nodded. Her eyes were huge in the darkness. The cellar was cold, damp. Elena pulled her daughter close, the puppies pressed against them both. Above she heard footsteps, Marcus moving, Titan's claws clicking on wood. Then silence, then voices. "We know you're in there. Give us the woman, and we'll let you live." Marcus's response was too quiet to hear. "You're outgunned, soldier. We have 12 men. You're 1 man with a dog. Think about your odds." More silence. Then, the first gunshot made Sophia scream. Elena clamped her hand over her daughter's mouth. "Quiet, baby. Quiet. We have to be quiet." More shots, wood splintering, glass breaking. Then the sounds that would haunt Elena forever. Fighting. Close quarters. Men screaming, not the good guys. The bad guys. Screaming in pain and terror as something moved among them that they couldn't see and couldn't stop. Titan. She was hearing Titan work. And Marcus. Whatever Marcus was doing up there, it sounded like war. Minutes passed. Hours. Elena couldn't tell. Then footsteps above her head. Careful. Measured. The cellar door opened. Marcus stood silhouetted against the moonlight. Blood on his face. His knuckles. His shirt. "Clear. You can come up." Elena carried Sophia up the ladder. The little girl kept her eyes squeezed shut. Smart girl. "Don't look at the yard," Marcus said. "Take her to the truck. I'll get the puppies." "How many?" 12, like they said. He paused. None of them walked away. Elena didn't ask what that meant. She didn't need to. She carried her daughter through the cabin, keeping Sophia's face pressed against her shoulder, and stepped out into the night air. She didn't look at the yard. They drove until dawn. Marcus knew 3 other locations within 100 miles, cached supplies, emergency shelters, places he'd prepared for situations he hoped would never happen. This situation definitely qualified. The second safe house was a converted hunting blind, elevated and defensible. Marcus parked the truck in a ravine where it couldn't be seen from the road. "We wait here until Jackson can arrange something more permanent." Sophia was awake now. She hadn't spoken since the cabin. She just sat between Elena and Marcus, clutching Luna, staring straight ahead. Elena worried about her, worried about what this night had done to her daughter's mind. "Sophia, baby, are you okay?" "The bad men hurt Shadow." "I know, baby. They wanted to hurt us too." "Yes. But Marcus stopped them." Sophia looked up at the man beside her. "You stopped them." Marcus didn't answer immediately. When he did, his voice was different, softer. "I tried to. You saved us, like Papa would have." Elena felt tears spilling down her cheeks. "Like a superhero," Sophia continued, "but real." "I'm not a hero, sweetheart. I'm just a soldier." "What's the difference?" Marcus was quiet for a long moment. "Heroes always do the right thing. Soldiers just do what needs to be done." Sophia considered this with the seriousness only a child could muster. "Titan's a hero. He protected us." At the sound of his name, Titan's ears perked up. He was lying in the truck bed, but his head lifted to look at Sophia through the rear window. "Titan's a good boy," Marcus agreed. "Can I pet him?" "He doesn't usually let strangers pet him." "I'm not a stranger. I'm Sophia." Despite everything, the fear, the exhaustion, the horror of the past 12 hours, Elena felt herself smile. Marcus opened his door, whistled once. Titan jumped down, walked around to Sophia's window. "Easy boy, she's a friend." The German shepherd studied Sophia through the glass. His tail didn't wag. His expression didn't change. Then slowly he pressed his nose against the window where her hand was touching. "He likes me." Sophia's face lit up. "Mama, he likes me. I can see that baby." Marcus opened Sophia's door. The little girl hesitantly reached out. Titan let her touch his head. Then, in a gesture that made Marcus's eyebrows rise, the dog leaned into her palm. "I've never seen him do that with a stranger." "I told you," Sophia said seriously. "I'm not a stranger." Elena watched her daughter stroke the combat dog's fur, and something in her chest loosened slightly. They were alive. They were together. And somehow, in the middle of the worst nightmare of her life, a 7-year-old girl had just made friends with a killer. Maybe there was hope after all. Marcus's phone buzzed 3 hours later. "Jackson, what do you have?" Elena watched his face as he listened. Watched it change from neutral to tense to something that looked almost like hope. "You're sure? More listening. How long?" He nodded. "We'll be there." He ended the call. "What is it?" Jackson found something. "Your husband's files, they weren't just about the cartel. He documented corruption at the Port Authority. The director, a man named Alan Vance, he's been working with the cartel for years, facilitating shipments, taking payments. And Jackson has a contact in the FBI who's been trying to build a case against Vance for months. The evidence Miguel collected could finish it, could bring down the entire network." Elena felt her heart racing. "So we can end this?" "Maybe, but there's a problem." Marcus's jaw tightened. "To access the full files, we need a password, a key phrase. Miguel set it up so only someone he trusted completely could unlock everything." "I don't know any passwords. He never told me." "It wouldn't be something he told you. It would be something personal, something only you would know. A phrase, a memory, something meaningful to both of you. Elena's mind raced. Passwords. Phrases. What would Miguel use? Their wedding vows. Sophia's birthday. The name of the restaurant where he proposed. I don't know. I don't know what it could be. Think. Take your time, but think carefully. Everything depends on this. Sophia spoke from across the truck. It's the flower. Both adults turned. What flower, baby? Papa's flower. The one he put in Mama's hair on their first date. Sophia's voice was certain. He told me the story 1,000 times. He said it was the moment he knew. Elena's hand flew to her mouth, a white chrysanthemum. Miguel had picked it from a random garden they'd passed, tucked it behind her ear, and said, There, now you're perfect. She'd kept that flower pressed in a book for years. It was still on her nightstand. White chrysanthemum, she whispered. Marcus was already typing into his phone. A pause. Then his eyes widened. It worked. Elena, it worked. The files. Everything. Names, accounts, shipping routes, testimony, video evidence. He looked at her. Your husband built a bomb, Elena, and you just armed it. What do? We meet Jackson. We hand this over to his FBI contact, and then we watch the cartel burn. For the first time in 8 months, Elena felt something other than grief. She felt hope, and underneath the hope, something else. Rage. They'd killed her husband, hurt her puppies, terrorized her daughter. And for what? Money, power, control. I want to be there, she said quietly. When they arrest them, when they destroy everything these people built, I want to watch. Marcus studied her. That's not safe. I don't care about safe. I care about justice. She met his eyes. Miguel died for this. I almost died for this. My daughter had to hide in a closet while monsters tore apart our home. I deserve to see it end. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded. Okay. The rendezvous point was 30 miles south. A diner at a crossroads that looked like it hadn't been updated since 1975. The kind of place where nobody asked questions and nobody remembered faces. Jackson Reed was waiting in a booth near the back. He was older than Marcus, gray at the temples, lines on his face that spoke of hard years and harder choices. But his eyes were sharp, missing nothing. Marcus. They shook hands. It's been too long. Not by choice. I heard about Yemen. I'm sorry. Don't be. I made the call. Jackson's eyes moved to Elena, to Sophia, to the puppies cradled in their arms. This is the family. Elena Vasquez, her daughter Sophia, and Luna and Shadow, her husband's final gift. Jackson knelt down to Sophia's level. Hi there, I'm Jackson. I'm a friend of Marcus's. Sophia studied him with the same serious expression she'd given Titan. Are you a soldier too? I used to be. Now I just help people. Like Marcus. Exactly like Marcus. Jackson straightened. We should talk. Privately. Elena touched Sophia's shoulder. Stay here with Luna and Shadow. Watch cartoons on my phone. Don't leave this booth. But Mama. I'll be right over there. I can see you the whole time. Sophia reluctantly accepted the phone. Luna and Shadow curled up beside her, creating a furry protective barrier. Elena followed Marcus and Jackson to a corner table. The files are everything we hoped, Jackson said without preamble. Miguel Vasquez documented 12 years of cartel activity. Names, dates, bank transfers. He even managed to get video of Director Vance meeting with cartel leadership. So it's over. We can end this. Not quite. Jackson's expression darkened. There's a problem. Vance knows we have the files. He has contacts at the FBI people he's paid off. The moment we try to hand this over through normal channels, it'll disappear. Then what do? We go above the FBI. Way above. Jackson pulled out a tablet. I have a contact at the Department of Justice. Someone who's been looking for an excuse to clean house at the Bureau for years. If we can get the evidence to her directly bypass all the corrupt intermediaries, then Vance and the cartel go down, along with everyone they've paid off. Jackson nodded. But we need to move fast. Vance is already panicking. He's called in every favor, activated every asset. Right now, there are people searching for you across 3 states. How long do we have? My contact can meet us tonight, 8 hours from now. A secure location. Marcus frowned. 8 hours is a long time to stay hidden when the whole world is looking for you. I know, but there's no other way. Jackson leaned forward. I've arranged a place. Remote. Defensible. You wait there until I call with the final coordinates. And the cartel? They're out there. They know you're moving. They know you're with someone military. Jackson looked at Marcus. They don't know it's you specifically. Not yet. But they will. And when they do, they'll throw everything they have at us. Everything and more. Carlos Reyes, the man who led the attack on Elena's house, he's reported directly to cartel leadership. They've authorized unlimited resources, unlimited personnel. Elena felt ice in her veins. What does that mean? It means instead of 12 men, they might send 50. It means instead of handguns, they might bring military hardware. Jackson's voice was grim. It means the next 8 hours could be the most dangerous of your life. Marcus's expression didn't change. I've had worse odds. I know. That's why I called you. Jackson stood. Get to the safe house. Stay off the main roads. Trust no one except me. 8 hours, Marcus. That's all I need. We'll be there. Jackson turned to leave. Paused. The little girl. Sophia. She's strong. She's had to be. So has her mother. Jackson glanced at Elena. Miguel would be proud of both of them. He walked out. Elena watched him go. Can we trust him? With my life, Marcus said without hesitation. He's saved it twice. Then let's move. They gathered Sophia and the puppies, loaded back into the truck. 8 hours. 8 hours until justice. Or 8 hours until the cartel found them. Either way, it ended tonight. The safe house was an abandoned ranch 40 miles from anywhere. Marcus had been here before, years ago. Training exercise that had gone wrong. They'd holed up in this very building waiting for extraction that came 18 hours late. He knew every entry point, every blind spot, every defensive position. If they had to make a stand, this was as good a place as any. Get inside. I'll secure the perimeter. Elena carried Sophia through the front door. The little girl was exhausted, her eyes barely staying open. Mama, I'm tired. I know, baby. We'll rest soon. She found a room with a bed, laid Sophia down. The puppies immediately jumped up beside her, Luna on one side, Shadow on the other, protecting her even in their own weakened state. Elena stood watching them. Her daughter, her dogs, everything she had left in the world. She'll be okay. Marcus's voice from the doorway. How can you know that? I can't. Not for sure. He stepped into the room. But kids are resilient, more resilient than adults. She'll remember this night for the rest of her life, but it won't define her. Not if she has people who love her. I feel like I've failed her. As a mother, I should have known. Should have realized what Miguel was involved in. Should have protected her better. You couldn't have known. Miguel made sure of that. Marcus moved closer. He was protecting you, Elena. Both of you. The same way you're protecting Sophia now. The same way these puppies are trying to protect her, even with broken legs and traumatized minds. It's not enough. It's never enough. That's what being a parent means. His voice softened. I'm not a father. Never will be, probably. But I know what it looks like when someone loves their child completely. You're doing that. Every minute. Every choice. Elena felt tears threatening again. I keep thinking about what Carlos said, that Miguel's heroism cost his family everything. She looked at Marcus. Was it worth it? Everything he documented, everything he risked, Was it worth dying for? Leaving Sophia without a father. Leaving me to face this alone. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. I've asked myself that question. After Yemen. After every mission where good people died for reasons I couldn't fully understand. He paused. The answer changes depending on the day. But here's what I know: your husband saw evil. Real evil. The kind that destroys families and ruins lives and spreads like poison through everything it touches. And he decided to fight it. Not because he wanted to be a hero, because he couldn't live with himself if he didn't. And now he's dead. Yes. And the evidence he gathered is about to bring down a criminal empire that's been operating for decades. Hundreds of families will be safer because of what he did. Thousands of people will never become victims because Miguel Vasquez refused to look away. Elena wiped her eyes. I wish he'd told me. So do I. For your sake. Marcus reached out, touched her shoulder. But I understand why he didn't. He wanted to keep you safe. He wanted you to be able to honestly say you didn't know. He wanted Titan's bark cut through the night. Sharp. Urgent. The warning signal Marcus had trained him to give. Stay here. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone except me. He was gone before Elena could respond. She heard his footsteps disappearing into the darkness. Heard Titan's continued barking. Heard nothing else. Minutes passed. Then voices. Distant. Getting closer. We know you're in there, soldier, Carlos. She recognized the voice from her nightmares. You've cost us too much. It ends tonight. Elena's blood went cold. They'd found them. Somehow, impossibly, they'd found them. And this time, there were too many. She looked at her daughter. At the puppies. At the locked door that suddenly felt like it was made of paper. 8 hours. They just needed 8 hours. They weren't going to get it. Marcus counted them through the darkness. 23 men. Maybe more hidden in the tree line. Vehicles positioned to block all exits. Professional formation. Military-grade weapons visible even from this distance. Carlos Reyes had learned from his mistakes. This wasn't a retrieval team. This was an execution squad. Titan pressed against Marcus's leg. Body coiled ready for the command that would unleash him. But even the best combat dog in the world couldn't take 23 armed men. Not alone. Marcus's mind raced through options. Escape routes blocked. Reinforcement hours away. Surrender death sentence for Elena and Sophia. One option remained. Fight. Buy time. Hope Jackson could accelerate the timeline. He keyed his phone. One-handed. Eyes never leaving the enemy positions. Jackson. They found us. How many? 24 minimum. Heavy weapons. Carlos Reyes leading. I need 3 more hours. We don't have 3 hours. Silence on the line. Marcus, if you engage 20+ hostiles with 1 dog and no backup, I know the math. Then you know this is suicide. It's not suicide if I'm buying time for something that matters. Marcus checked his weapon. 1 magazine, 18 rounds. Get that evidence to your contact, Jackson. Whatever happens here, make sure Miguel's sacrifice means something. Marcus. 3 hours. I'll give you 3 hours. He ended the call. Titan looked up at him. Waiting. Yeah, boy. I know. Marcus scratched behind the dog's ear. Bad odds. But we've had bad odds before. The German shepherd's tail wagged once. Understood. Let's go to work. Inside the ranch house, Elena heard footsteps returning. Marcus. It's me. Don't open the door yet. She heard him moving through the house, opening cabinets, dragging furniture. What's happening out there? They found us. 24 men, maybe more. Elena's heart stopped. 24. Carlos brought an army. Marcus's voice was calm, too calm. I need you to listen very carefully. There's a root cellar beneath the kitchen. Hatch under the rug near the stove. Take Sophia and the puppies down there. Don't come out no matter what you hear. Marcus, you can't fight 20 men alone. I'm not alone. I have Titan. That's insane. The door opened. Marcus stood there face set, eyes carrying something she hadn't seen before. Peace. The peace of a man who'd made his decision. Elena. I've spent 7 months trying to figure out why I survived Yemen when those kids didn't. Why I'm still breathing when they're not. He stepped closer. Maybe this is the answer. Maybe I survived so I could be here tonight, so I could stand between your daughter and the men who want to kill her. You'll die. Maybe. But Sophia won't. You won't. And in 3 hours, Jackson will deliver Miguel's evidence to people who can actually use it. His voice softened. Your husband gave his life to build that case. Let me give mine to make sure it matters. Elena felt tears streaming down her face. I won't let you do this. You can't stop me. He reached out, touched her cheek. Take care of Sophia. Take care of those puppies. And when this is over, build something beautiful. That's all I ask. Marcus. Go, now, before it starts. Elena wanted to argue, wanted to scream, wanted to do anything except walk away from this man who was about to die for her family. But Sophia was in the bedroom, innocent, trusting, waiting for her mother to keep her safe. I'll never forget you. Don't forget Miguel either. He's the real hero in this story. Marcus kissed her forehead. Quick, gentle. The goodbye of a soldier who'd made peace with what was coming. Then he walked out the front door. And Elena ran for the cellar. Everyone in position. Carlos Reyes surveyed his men through night vision goggles. 24 total. Enough firepower to level a small building. Overkill for 1 man and a dog. But this particular man had already cost Carlos 6 soldiers. 8 more at the cabin. His superiors were not pleased. Tonight, there would be no survivors. On my signal, we breach all entry points simultaneously. The woman and child are secondary. We need them alive for the password. But the soldier... Carlos smiled. Make him suffer. His radio crackled. Movement at the front door. Carlos looked. The soldier was walking out. Alone. No weapon visible. His hands at his sides. Insane. Or incredibly confident. Hold your fire. Carlos stepped forward. Met the man halfway between the ranch house and his assault line. You're the one they call Marcus Cole. And you're Carlos Reyes, the man who breaks puppies' legs to make women talk. That was business. This is also business. Carlos gestured at his men. You're surrounded, outgunned. You can't win this. Probably not. Then why are you out here? Because I want to look you in the eye. Marcus's voice carried no fear. I want to remember your face when this is over. When this is over, you'll be dead. Maybe, but you'll remember me. You'll remember the night a single SEAL and his dog held off 24 cartel soldiers long enough for your entire operation to burn. Marcus smiled. Cold. Predatory. That's what's happening right now, Carlos. While you're standing here trying to scare me, the evidence your bosses are so desperate to suppress is being delivered to the Department of Justice. Carlos felt ice in his stomach. You're bluffing. Am I? Why do you think I'm not running? Why do you think I'm standing here talking instead of fighting? Marcus shook his head. I'm buying time. Every second you waste on me is a second closer to the end of everything you've built. Then I'll stop wasting time. Carlos raised his hand. The signal to fire. Marcus moved. Not away. Forward. Into Carlos. Too fast, too close for the soldiers to risk shooting their own leader. His fist connected with Carlos's throat. The cartel enforcer staggered. Gasped. Tried to draw his weapon. Titan hit him from the side. 90 pounds of German Shepherd drove Carlos to the ground. Jaws locked on his weapon arm. The pistol went flying. Chaos erupted. The soldiers couldn't fire without hitting their leader. They rushed forward instead, trying to reach the fight. Marcus was ready. He used Carlos as a shield, dragging the struggling man backward toward the ranch house. Titan maintained his grip, teeth sinking deeper whenever Carlos tried to move. "Fall back! Don't shoot!" someone was yelling. Too late. Marcus reached the doorway, threw Carlos inside, followed with Titan, slammed the door, locked it, dragged the heaviest furniture against it. Outside, the soldiers regrouped. Seconds later, bullets tore through the walls. Marcus hit the floor. Titan was already low, crawling on his belly toward a defensive position. Carlos lay groaning where Marcus had thrown him. His arm was a bloody mess. Titan's bite had gone deep. Marcus grabbed him, pulled him up, pressed a knife against his throat. "Call them off. They'll never stop. My bosses..." "Your bosses are about to have bigger problems than one dead enforcer." Marcus pressed the knife harder. "Call them off." Carlos laughed. Blood bubbled from his lip where he'd bitten it during the fall. "You don't understand. This isn't just business anymore. This is war. The cartel has been operating in this region for 20 years. Do you know how much money flows through those ports? How many politicians are on our payroll? How many federal agents look the other way? I know. Your friend Miguel documented all of it. Miguel was a fool, a dead fool, and his widow will join him before sunrise." Marcus felt something cold settle in his chest. "You shouldn't have said that." He hit Carlos, hard. The man went limp. More bullets punched through the walls. Plaster exploded. Glass shattered. Marcus crawled to a window, counted muzzle flashes. 22 still active. 2 groups flanking. The rest providing suppressive fire. Professional, coordinated, deadly. He was going to die here, but not yet. Not until he'd bought enough time. Marcus raised his weapon, waited for a lull in the firing. Rose, aimed, fired, one down. He dropped before return fire could find him. 21 to go, he muttered. Titan pressed against his side. The dog wasn't afraid, wasn't confused, just waiting for the next command. "You're a good boy, Titan. Best partner I ever had." The dog's tail wagged once. Even now, even in this, loyal until the end. In the root cellar, Elena held Sophia against her chest. The little girl was crying, silently. Her whole body shaking with sobs she wouldn't let become sounds. Above them, the battle raged. Gunfire, crashes, screams, some human, some not. Luna whimpered. Shadow tried to stand on his broken leg, tried to position himself between the family and the danger. Even injured, even terrified, he was trying to protect them, just like Marcus. "Mama," Sophia whispered. "Is Marcus going to die?" Elena couldn't answer. "He saved us, at our house, at the cabin. He keeps saving us." "I know, baby. I don't want him to die. Neither do I." "Can we help him?" "No, baby. We have to stay hidden. That's how we help, by staying safe so he doesn't have to worry about us." Sophia was quiet for a moment. "Papa died protecting people too. That's what you said." "Yes." "Is that what heroes do? Die?" Elena felt her heart crack. "No, baby. Heroes live for something bigger than themselves. Sometimes that means fighting. Sometimes that means dying. But always, always it means protecting the people who can't protect themselves. Like us. Like us. And the puppies. And the puppies." Sophia hugged Luna tighter. Shadow collapsed against her side, exhausted from trying to stand guard. "When I grow up, I want to be a hero too." Elena kissed her daughter's hair. "You already are, baby. You're the bravest 7-year-old I've ever known." The gunfire above intensified, then stopped. Silence. Elena's breath caught. Was it over? Had Marcus' footsteps above them? Heavy. Multiple sets. Voices. Spanish. Excited. We got him. Where's the woman? Search the house. She's here somewhere. Elena's blood went cold. They'd caught Marcus, and now they were coming for her. 10. Marcus hung between two soldiers, barely conscious. 3 bullets had found him. Shoulder, thigh, side. None immediately fatal, but the blood loss was taking its toll. Titan was restrained, 4 men holding the snarling dog with catch-poles keeping him at bay. Carlos Reyes stood before Marcus, his mangled arm crudely bandaged, his eyes burning with hatred. You killed 6 of my men tonight. 8 at the cabin, 4 at her house. He slammed his fist into Marcus's face. 18 soldiers, good men, dead because of you. Marcus spat blood. 18 murderers. The world's better without them. Another blow. Marcus's vision swam. Where's the woman? Gone. Escaped while you were busy shooting up an empty building. Liar. Carlos grabbed Marcus's jaw. My men are searching every inch of this place. They'll find her. And then, his radio crackled. Carlos, we found something. A cellar. Under the kitchen. No. Marcus lunged forward. The soldiers held him back. Don't touch them. Don't you dare touch them. Carlos smiled. Bring them up. Marcus fought, struggled, pulled against the hands restraining him with every ounce of strength he had left. It wasn't enough. Minutes later, Elena appeared. She was being dragged by 2 soldiers, Sophia clutched in her arms. The little girl was crying. The puppies were somewhere behind them, held by another soldier who looked disgusted at having to handle animals. Mrs. Vasquez. Carlos spread his hands. Finally, we meet again. Let us go. I'm afraid I can't do that. Your husband caused my employers significant problems. And you, he glanced at Marcus. You've caused me personal problems. There need to be consequences. We gave you the flash drive. We gave you the password. What more do you want? The flash drive was just the beginning. The files it contained have already been transmitted to servers we can't reach. Your husband built multiple redundancies. We need to know how to disable them. I don't know I've told you everything I know. Carlos studied her for a long moment. I believe you. He turned to a soldier. Bring me the child. No! Elena screamed. Fought. A soldier hit her across the face. She went down. Sophia was torn from her arms. Mama! Mama! The files have already been sent to the Justice Department. Marcus's voice cut through the chaos. Everyone turned. 30 minutes ago. Your operation is finished. Killing them won't change that. Carlos froze. You're lying. Am I? Check your phone. Call your contacts in the FBI. Ask them what's happening. Marcus forced himself upright. Your pet agents, the ones on your payroll, they're being arrested right now. Director Vance is being escorted out of his office in handcuffs. Every name your organization tried to protect is being fed into federal databases. Carlos pulled out his phone. Dialed. Listened. His face went pale. ¿Cómo es posible? He ended the call. Stared at Marcus. You. His voice was barely a whisper. You actually did it. Miguel did it. I just made sure his work reached the right people. Carlos's face contorted with rage. Then there's no reason to keep any of you alive. He raised his weapon, pointed it at Sophia. No! Marcus moved, despite his wounds, despite the soldiers restraining him. He tore free with strength born of pure desperation. Crashed into Carlos, the gun discharged. The bullet went wide. They went down together, Marcus's hands around Carlos's throat. The soldiers reacted, raised their weapons. Titan exploded into motion. The catch-poles weren't enough. 4 men couldn't hold 90 pounds of combat-trained German Shepherd when the dog decided to move. He burst free, hit the nearest soldier, then the next, chaos. Marcus and Carlos rolled across the floor fighting for the gun. Elena grabbed Sophia, pulled her behind an overturned table. The soldiers tried to aim, tried to shoot, but Titan was among them now, a fury of teeth and claws and trained violence. The gun went off again, Carlos screamed. Marcus rolled away. Carlos lay still, his own weapon having discharged into his chest. The remaining soldiers broke. They ran. 15 men fleeing into the night from one wounded SEAL and one German shepherd. Silence fell. Marcus collapsed against the wall. Blood everywhere. His blood. Carlos's blood. He couldn't tell whose was whose anymore. Marcus. Elena was beside him. Marcus, stay with me. Sophia. She's fine. She's safe. Titan. A cold nose pressed against his hand. Titan's eyes watching him with that steady, loyal gaze. Good boy. Marcus tried to smile. Best boy. Don't you dare die on me. Elena was pressing her hands against his wounds, trying to stop bleeding that wouldn't stop. Don't you dare leave us. Jackson. I'll call him. I'll call everyone. Just hold on. Marcus closed his eyes. The darkness felt peaceful, quiet, like the end of a long run. Marcus? Elena's voice distant. Sophia crying somewhere. Titan's whine. Then nothing. The helicopter touched down at 3:47 a.m. Jackson Reed jumped out before the rotors stopped spinning. Where is he? Elena pointed. Her hands were covered in blood. Her face streaked with tears. He's not breathing right. I tried to stop the bleeding, but there's so much. Jackson pushed past her, knelt beside Marcus, checked pulse, checked breathing, assessed wounds. He's alive, barely. He turned to the medics following him. Get him stabilized. We're flying him to Albuquerque General. They're expecting us. The medics took over. Elena watched them work on Marcus's broken body. Will he live? I don't know. Jackson's voice was honest, brutal. He lost a lot of blood, multiple gunshot wounds, possible internal damage. He paused. But I've seen him survive worse, much worse. He saved us, all of us, against 24 men. That sounds like Marcus. Sophia tugged at Jackson's sleeve. Mister, is Marcus going to heaven? Jackson crouched down, looked at this little girl who'd seen too much. No, sweetheart. Marcus isn't going anywhere. He's too stubborn to die. Promise. I promise. It was a lie. Jackson knew it was a lie, but some lies were necessary. The medics loaded Marcus onto the helicopter. Get in, Jackson told Elena. You're coming too, all of you. The puppies. Bring them. The hospital can figure it out. They piled in. Elena, Sophia, Luna, and Shadow. Titan refused to leave Marcus's side, positioning himself at the foot of the stretcher. The helicopter lifted off. Below them, the ranch house grew smaller. Inside, Carlos Reyes's body grew cold. And somewhere in Washington, D.C., the evidence Miguel Vasquez had gathered was being reviewed by people with the power to end a criminal empire. The battle was over. The war was just beginning. Marcus woke to white ceiling, white walls, white sheets, and pain. Easy. A voice beside him. Elena. Don't try to move. Sophia. She's fine, sleeping in the chair over there. Marcus turned his head, saw the little girl curled up in a visitor's chair, Luna in her lap, Shadow beside her on the floor. The puppies. Survived. Shadow had surgery on his leg. The vet says he'll walk again, but he'll always have a limp. And Titan. Elena smiled. He wouldn't leave you. They tried to remove him from the room 3 times. He growled at a nurse. She nodded toward the foot of the bed. Hospital finally gave up. Marcus looked down. Titan lay across his feet, eyes open, watching. Always watching. Hey, boy! The dog's tail wagged. Good boy. Such a good boy. Marcus closed his eyes again. He was alive. They were all alive. Somehow, impossibly, they were all alive. How long was I out? 3 days. You flatlined twice in surgery. The doctors said. Elena's voice broke. They said you shouldn't have survived. The blood loss alone should have killed you. Told you. Too stubborn to die. Don't joke about it. Who's joking? He reached out, found her hand. Jackson. The evidence. Delivered. Everything. The Justice Department arrested Director Vance the same night. 17 federal agents on the cartel payroll have been detained. The entire network is collapsing. And the cartel. Running. The FBI has arrest warrants for their entire U.S. leadership. 3 have already been captured trying to cross the border. Marcus felt something loosen in his chest. It worked. Miguel's sacrifice, the files, the evidence. It all worked. We won, he said quietly. You won. Elena squeezed his hand. You and Titan and Miguel, you brought down an empire. I just held the line. Miguel built the weapon. You're both heroes. I'm just a soldier. Sophia doesn't think so. Elena glanced at her sleeping daughter. She told the FBI agents that you were a real-life superhero, that you and Titan saved us from monsters. She's 7. She's not wrong. They sat in silence for a while. Then Marcus spoke. What happens now, for you? I don't know. The FBI offered witness protection, new identities, new location. Elena shook her head. But I don't want to run anymore. I don't want to hide. I want to build something. In Miguel's memory. Something that helps people. Like what? A shelter maybe. For animals and people who've been through trauma. A place where they can heal together. She looked at Luna and Shadow. These puppies, they're going to need ongoing care. Physical therapy, training. And there are so many other animals out there who need the same thing. And so many people. Yes, people like you. Marcus turned his head, met her eyes. Like me. You're hurting, Marcus, I can see it. Not just the physical wounds, the other ones. The ones you carry from Yemen and everywhere else. Her voice was gentle. Maybe healing doesn't have to happen alone. Maybe we can help each other. Marcus thought about it. A shelter. Animals. A family that needed him. A reason to stay. I'm not good at staying, he said finally. Neither am I. But Sophia needs stability. The puppies need consistency. And maybe... She hesitated. Maybe I need someone to stand beside me. Not in front of me. Beside me. I'm a mess, Elena. So am I. So is everyone. She smiled. But messes can be cleaned up. Together. Marcus looked at his dog. At the sleeping child. At the woman who'd survived the worst night of her life and come out stronger. Okay. Okay. I'll stay. For now. See what happens. Elena leaned forward. Kissed his forehead. That's all I'm asking. Outside the window the sun was rising. A new day. A new beginning. And somewhere in heaven, if such a place existed, Marcus liked to think Miguel Vasquez was smiling. His family was safe. His sacrifice had mattered. And the monsters who'd killed him were finally facing justice. 3 weeks after the siege, Marcus took his first steps without support. The physical therapist called it remarkable. The doctors called it impossible. Marcus called it Tuesday. You're pushing too hard, Elena said from the doorway. The doctor said 6 weeks minimum before... The doctors don't know me. Marcus gripped the parallel bars, sweat dripping down his face. 6 weeks is for normal people. And what are you? Stubborn. Elena shook her head. But she was smiling. Behind her, Sophia appeared with Luna on a leash. The puppy had grown significantly in 3 weeks, losing some of her gangly awkwardness. Marcus watched what Luna can do. She unclipped the leash. Luna immediately sat. Looked at Sophia. Waited. Luna. Shake. The puppy extended her paw. Good girl. Sophia pulled a treat from her pocket. Luna accepted it with dignified grace. Marcus felt something warm spread through his chest. Who taught her that? I did. Titan helped. As if summoned, the older German shepherd appeared in the doorway. He'd barely left Marcus's side since the hospital, but he seemed to understand that Sophia needed guidance too. Needed a protector when Marcus couldn't be there. The two dogs had developed an understanding. Titan the warrior, Luna the student. And somewhere in between, Shadow healing, slowly learning to walk again, becoming something neither pet nor soldier, but something uniquely his own. Where's Shadow? With the vet, getting his cast changed. Elena walked into the room. They say he's ahead of schedule. Should be weight-bearing in another month. Good. He's got fight in him. Like someone else I know. Marcus reached the end of the parallel bars, turned, started back. Jackson called this morning. What did he want? The trial. It starts next week. They want us to testify. Marcus stopped walking. Both of us. Both of us. Me about Miguel's work. About what the cartel did to our home. Elena's voice hardened. And you about what happened at the ranch. What Carlos Reyes did. What you had to do to stop him. I killed 18 men. You defended innocent people against armed attackers. The prosecutor might not see it that way. The prosecutor is on our side. Jackson made sure of it. Elena moved closer. Marcus, these people murdered my husband. They terrorized my daughter. They broke Shadow's leg and would have killed us all if you hadn't intervened. The world needs to hear what they did. And what I did. What you did was heroic. What I did was violent. Sometimes violence is the only answer to violence. Marcus resumed walking. 1 step. 2. The pain was a constant companion now, but it was familiar. Almost comfortable. When do we leave? Friday. The FBI is providing security. Jackson arranged everything. And Sophia? Jackson's wife will watch her. She's a former Marine. Sophia will be safe. Marcus reached the end again, stopped, looked at Elena. Are you ready for this testifying, reliving everything? No. Her voice was honest. But I'm going to do it anyway. For Miguel. For Sophia. For every family the cartel has destroyed. That's brave. That's necessary. She reached out, touched his arm. Will you be there when I testify? Every second. Promise. Promise. The federal courthouse was a fortress of security, checkpoints at every entrance, armed guards on every floor. The kind of protection usually reserved for heads of state. The cartel's reach was long. Even from prison, their leaders could order assassinations. Everyone knew it. Everyone prepared for it. Marcus walked through the metal detectors with Elena at his side. He was still moving slower than he liked. The wounds hadn't fully healed, but his eyes were sharp, alert, scanning for threats the way he'd been trained. Titan wasn't allowed inside. Service animal exemptions didn't extend to combat dogs with kill records. Jackson had arranged for private security at their hotel with Titan on permanent guard duty. Marcus felt naked without his partner. But some battles had to be fought alone. Mr. Cole, Mrs. Vasquez. A woman in a dark suit approached, FBI credentials visible on her belt. I'm Special Agent Martinez. I'll be escorting you to the witness preparation room. Any threats we should know about? Marcus asked. Several. We've intercepted 3 separate assassination plots targeting key witnesses. She lowered her voice. 2 were aimed at you specifically. Only 2. The cartel respects you, Mr. Cole. They also fear you. That fear has made them cautious. Good. Fear keeps people alive. They followed Martinez through a maze of corridors, security stations, locked doors. The courthouse was designed to protect witnesses, but Marcus knew better than to trust architecture. The cartel had people everywhere. Inside law enforcement, inside the judiciary, inside the very systems designed to stop them. If they wanted him dead, they'd find a way. The preparation room was small, functional, a table, chairs, water bottles. The kind of space designed for stress and waiting. The prosecution team will brief you in an hour. Mrs. Vasquez, you're scheduled to testify tomorrow morning. Mr. Cole, you're the following day. Yeah. Why the delay? Strategic. They want to build the emotional case first, the human cost of the cartel's operations. Your wife's testimony about her husband, her family, what was done to her. Then they bring you in as the action, the response, the consequences. I'm not her husband? No, but you're the reason she's alive to testify. Martinez's expression softened slightly. What you did, Mr. Cole, holding off 24 armed men with one dog, it's already legend in federal law enforcement. When you take that stand, every juror will be looking at a genuine American hero. I'm not a hero. The jury doesn't need to know that. They just need to see what you did. She checked her watch. 1 hour. I'll return to escort you to the briefing. She left. Elena sat down. Her hands were shaking. Hey. Marcus took the chair beside her. You okay? No. I'm terrified. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. I've survived. Cartel soldiers watched my home destroyed, hidden in cellars, while men with guns hunted my daughter. But the thought of sitting in a witness box and telling strangers about Miguel? You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. That's what makes it hard. She looked at him. Miguel died for this. He gave up everything, his safety, his family, his future, to build a case that could bring these people down. If I don't testify, his sacrifice means nothing. It's not nothing. The evidence is data, numbers, files. Elena shook her head. The jury needs to see what those numbers mean, who they represent. They need to look into my eyes and understand that behind every shipping route and bank transfer there are real people, real families, real lives destroyed. Marcus took her hand. You're stronger than you know. I don't feel strong. That's how you know you are. Weak people don't question their strength. They just assume they have it. He squeezed her fingers. You've been tested, Elena. Tested in ways most people never experience. And you're still standing. Sometimes barely. Standing is standing. The how doesn't matter. She leaned against him. Just for a moment, drawing strength from his presence. What will you say when they ask about the ranch? The truth. Which truth? There are a lot of ways to tell what happened. Marcus was quiet for a moment. I'll tell them I heard a woman screaming, that I found her family under attack, that I did what any person with training and ability should do. I intervened. And the men you killed? They were armed. They were trying to murder innocent people. They made their choices. His voice hardened. I made mine. Do you regret it? Regret killing men who hurt children and puppies, who murdered a good man for trying to stop their operation? Marcus shook his head. No, not for a second. What about, afterward, the nightmares? He looked at her sharply. I hear you, Marcus. At night. You cry out sometimes. Names I don't recognize. Yemen. The children. The ghosts that never quite left. Those nightmares aren't about the cartel. I know, but they're still part of you. Part of what you carry. Elena touched his face. I want you to know something. Whatever you're carrying, whatever happened before we met, it doesn't change how I see you. It doesn't change what Sophia sees when she looks at you. What does she see? Safety. Protection. The man who saved her mama and her puppies and made the monsters go away. Elena smiled. She calls you her guardian angel. Did you know that? Marcus felt his throat tighten. I'm no angel. Neither was Miguel, but he died trying to protect us. You almost died doing the same. She kissed his cheek. Angels aren't perfect, Marcus. They're just beings who choose light over darkness, who stand between innocence and evil. That's a pretty generous definition. It's the only one that matters. The briefing lasted 3 hours. Prosecutors walked them through every detail, every question they'd face, every attack the defense might launch. The cartel's lawyers were good, expensive, ruthless. They'd try to paint Marcus as a vigilante, Elena as an unreliable witness. The evidence is compromised. They'll attack your husband's memory, the lead prosecutor warned Elena. They'll suggest he was involved in the smuggling, that he was a criminal who got caught by bigger criminals. Miguel was a hero. I know that, you know that. But the defense will try to create doubt. That's their job. It's evil. It's the legal system. We play by the rules even when the other side doesn't deserve it. By the time they returned to their hotel, Elena was exhausted. Sophia ran to meet them at the door. Mama Marcus Titan learned a new trick. Jackson's wife, a stern-looking woman named Catherine, who somehow became gentle around children, appeared behind her. She's been training with him all day. The dog seems to enjoy it. Titan sat in the center of the room, looking dignified despite the pink ribbon Sophia had tied around his neck. He let her do that? Marcus asked, incredulous. She asked nicely. Catherine shrugged. Apparently that matters to him. Marcus crouched down, looked at his combat partner. Really Buddy Pink. Titan's tail wagged. No shame. None at all. I think it's beautiful, Sophia declared. He's a pretty boy now. He's a trained killer. He's a pretty trained killer. Marcus couldn't argue with that logic. Later, after Sophia was asleep and the adults were gathered in the suite's living room, the conversation turned serious. The cartels made another move, Jackson said quietly. Our sources say they've authorized a hit on Elena, specifically timed for her testimony. Elena went pale. How? We don't know yet. Could be a sniper. Could be poison. Could be a bomb in the courthouse. Jackson's voice was grim. What we know is they're desperate. The trial is going badly for them. Key witnesses are cooperating. Evidence is mounting. If this conviction goes through, their entire U.S. operation collapses. So they're willing to risk attacking a federal courthouse. They're willing to risk anything. These people have nothing left to lose. Marcus stood, walked to the window, looked out at the city lights. Then we don't give them a target. What do you mean? Elena doesn't testify in person. She does it remotely. Video link. Secure location. The prosecution wants her in the room. Physical presence is more impactful. Impact doesn't matter if she's dead. Marcus turned. We've already given them everything they need. The evidence, the documentation, Elena's written statement, her video deposition from 2 weeks ago. The jury needs to see her face to face. The jury needs to convict. They can do that with the evidence we've provided. He looked at Elena. It's your call, but I'm telling you right now I can't protect you in that courtroom. Not against a determined hit. Not in a building with 1,000 potential hiding spots. Elena was quiet for a long moment. What about you? Your testimony? I'll take the risk. That's not fair. You're asking me to stay safe while you... I'm asking you to stay alive. For Sophia. For the puppies. For everything we're trying to build. Marcus crossed to her. I've been shot 3 times. Stabbed twice. Blown up once. My body can take punishment. Yours can't. So I'm supposed to hide while you walk into danger. You're supposed to survive. He took her hands. Elena, I've watched too many good people die because they insisted on being brave when they should have been smart. Miguel was brave. He's dead. I don't want the same thing for you. And what about what I want? What do you want? I want to look those men in the eye. The ones who killed my husband, who hurt my puppies, who terrorized my daughter. Her voice shook with rage. I want them to see me, to know that we survived, that everything they did, all the violence and terror and murder, it wasn't enough. We're still standing. Marcus understood. God help him, he understood. Then we compromise. You testify. But we change the security protocol. We add layers they're not expecting. Like what? Like me. Marcus looked at Jackson. Can you get me into the courtroom, not as a witness, as protection? That's irregular. Everything about this case is irregular. Make it happen. Jackson considered. I might be able to arrange something. Deputy security consultant. It would keep you in the room during Elena's testimony. Do it. And if the cartel makes their move... Marcus smiled. Cold. Predatory. Then they'll learn what happened to the last group that tried to hurt this family. The next morning, Elena walked into the courtroom. She wore simple black. No jewelry. Hair pulled back. The face of a widow who'd lost everything and refused to break. Marcus sat in the gallery positioned near the emergency exit, close enough to reach her, close enough to act if something went wrong. The defense table was full of expensive suits and practiced expressions. The defendant's 3 mid-level cartel operatives and 1 former FBI agent who'd taken their money sat stone-faced. Director Alan Vance, the primary target of the prosecution, had cut a deal, his testimony in exchange for reduced charges. He sat in a separate section surrounded by marshals looking like a man who'd sold his soul and gotten a bad price. The prosecution calls Elena Vasquez. Elena rose, walked to the witness stand, took the oath. Her hands were shaking. Marcus could see it from across the room, but her voice was steady. State your name for the record. Elena Maria Vasquez. And what is your relationship to this case? My husband Miguel Vasquez was murdered by the cartel for documenting their criminal operations. The courtroom went silent. Can you tell us about your husband's work? Elena did. For 2 hours, every detail, every secret Miguel had uncovered, every risk he'd taken to expose the corruption that was rotting the Port Authority from the inside. She talked about the night the cartel came, about Shadow's broken leg, about Sophia hiding in the closet, about the man who appeared out of the darkness and saved them all. And this man, Marcus Cole, he fought off 8 attackers that first night. Yes. And then, at a later location, he fought off more than 20. Yes. Can you describe what you witnessed? Elena's voice cracked for the first time. I was hiding in a cellar with my daughter. We could hear the gunfire above us, the screaming. We thought... She stopped, composed herself. We thought we were going to die, that Marcus would die trying to protect us. But he didn't die. No, he was shot 3 times. He nearly bled out on the floor of that ranch house, but he kept fighting until every single attacker was neutralized. Elena looked directly at the jury. That man saved my daughter's life. He saved my life, and he did it knowing he would probably die in the process. Why do you think he did that? He didn't know you. Because that's who he is. A man who runs toward danger instead of away from it. A man who heard a woman screaming in the night and couldn't walk away. Elena's eyes found Marcus in the gallery. A man who still believes in protecting the innocent, even when it costs him everything. Marcus felt his throat tighten. The prosecutor continued. Mrs. Vasquez, what do you want this jury to understand about what the cartel has done? Elena was quiet for a long moment. I want them to understand that behind every file, every bank transfer, every shipping route, there are real people. Real families. Children who lose their fathers. Women who lose their husbands. Puppies who get their legs broken by men who enjoy causing pain. Her voice strengthened. I want them to understand that evil doesn't stay in the shadows. It comes to your door. It breaks down your walls. It hurts everything you love unless someone stops it. She looked at the defendants. I want them to understand that they failed. Despite everything they did, despite all their money and violence and terror, they failed. My husband's evidence reached the right people. Their operation is crumbling. And I am still standing. She turned back to the jury. I want them to understand that we are not afraid anymore. The courtroom was absolutely silent. Then the prosecutor spoke. No further questions. Done. The defense attorney approached like a shark circling wounded prey. Mrs. Vasquez, you loved your husband very much. Yes. And his death was devastating. Yes. In fact, you were so devastated that you initially believed his death was an accident. Is that correct? I believed what I was told. And later you believed it was murder. Because it was murder. But you have no direct evidence of that, do you? No video, no witnesses, just the word of a man who is now cooperating with prosecutors in exchange for a reduced sentence. The cartel told me they killed him, the night they attacked my home. A traumatic night. A night when you were terrorized, tied to a chair, watching your pets being harmed. The attorney's voice dripped sympathy. Is it possible in all that trauma that you misheard, misunderstood? I understood perfectly. Did you? Or were you so desperate to make sense of your tragedy that you created a villain to blame? Objection. The prosecutor rose. Counsel is badgering the witness. Sustained. Move on. The defense attorney smiled, unperturbed. Let's talk about Marcus Cole, the man you credit with saving your life. What about him? He killed 18 men in just a few days. That's quite a body count. He was protecting us. Was he? Or was he a violent man who found an excuse to exercise his violent impulses? Marcus felt his hands clench. Mr. Cole is a decorated Navy SEAL. He served his country. He also suffers from PTSD. Isn't that correct? He's on medical leave because of a psychological evaluation that found him unfit for duty. Elena's face hardened. He's on leave because of an incident where bad intelligence led to civilian casualties. An incident that haunts him. An incident that proves he cares about innocent life more than anyone in this room. Or an incident that proves he's unstable, prone to violence. Looking for... He ran into gunfire to save my daughter. Elena's voice cut like steel. He held off 24 armed men with a dog and his bare hands. He nearly died, not for money, not for glory, but because he couldn't stand by while monsters hurt a child. She leaned forward. You can twist words all you want. You can play your games and make your implications. But the jury saw what I saw. They know what happened. And no amount of expensive lawyering will change the truth. The defense attorney's smile flickered. No further questions. Elena stepped down, walked past the gallery. Her eyes met Marcus's for just a moment. He nodded. She'd done it. She'd faced the monsters and stood her ground, and tomorrow it would be his turn. That night back at the hotel, Marcus sat with Titan on the balcony. The city spread out below them. Lights, traffic, normal life continuing despite the darkness that gathered in courtrooms and cellars and remote ranch houses. She did good, he said to the dog. Better than good. She was magnificent. Titan's tail thumped against the concrete. Tomorrow's my turn. You know what that means. The dog looked at him. It means I have to talk about what we did. All of it. The men we killed, the choices we made. Marcus scratched behind Titan's ear. They're going to try to make us look like villains, like the violence was unnecessary, like there was another way. Titan huffed. I know. There wasn't another way. But try explaining that to 12 civilians who've never had someone try to kill them. The sliding door opened. Elena stepped out. Sophia's asleep. She wanted me to tell you good night. Tell her I said good night too. Elena sat beside him, close, her shoulder touching his. Are you ready for tomorrow? I'm always ready. That's not what I asked. Marcus was quiet for a moment. When I testify, they're going to ask about Yemen. The defense brought it up today. They'll bring it up again tomorrow. They'll try to use it against me. Will it work? It might. 12 dead civilians is hard to explain away, even if the intelligence was bad. What will you say? The truth. That I gave an order based on the best information available. That I was wrong. That I live with that mistake every single day. He paused. And that it has nothing to do with what happened at that ranch. The jury will understand. Maybe, maybe not. Marcus looked at her. But whatever happens tomorrow, I want you to know something. What? These past few weeks with you with Sophia with the puppies, they've been the best weeks I've had in years. Maybe ever. His voice roughened. I spent 7 months trying to outrun my demons. Turns out what I needed wasn't speed. It was something to run toward. Marcus, I'm not good with words. Never have been. But I need you to know that whatever happens tomorrow, whatever the jury decides about me, you and Sophia changed something. Made me want to be better. Made me want to stay. Elena took his hand. Then stay. No matter what happens, stay with us. Is that what you want? It's what I've wanted since the moment you walked into that chaos and decided we were worth fighting for. Marcus looked at her. This woman who'd lost everything and rebuilt herself from the ashes. This mother who'd protected her daughter through hell. This survivor who'd stood before a courtroom and refused to be broken. Okay. Okay. I'll stay, for as long as you'll have me. Elena leaned against him. Titan pressed closer to both of them, and somewhere in the hotel room behind them, Sophia slept peacefully guarded by Luna and Shadow, watched over by the ghosts of heroes past, and the promise of heroes yet to come. Tomorrow would bring new battles. But tonight, there was peace. And that was enough. Marcus took the witness stand at 9:17 a.m. The courtroom was packed. Every seat filled. Media in the back notebooks ready. The defendants at their table, faces carved from stone. And Elena sitting in the front row, her eyes never leaving his face. State your name for the record. Marcus Cole. Occupation: Senior Chief Petty Officer, United States Navy SEALs, currently on medical leave. Mr. Cole, can you describe how you came to be involved in the events of October 17th? Marcus took a breath. I was running. Training exercise in the hills outside Las Cruces. My K9 partner Titan detected distress sounds approximately 3 miles from my position. We investigated and found a residential property under assault by armed men. What did you observe? 8 hostiles, professional formation, military-grade weapons. Inside the house, a woman was bound to a chair. 2 German Shepherd puppies had been injured, one with a broken leg. I could hear a child crying somewhere in the structure. What did you do? I engaged the hostiles. 8 armed men. You engaged them alone. With Titan, yes. A murmur rippled through the courtroom. And the result? 8 hostiles neutralized. The woman and child were extracted safely. By neutralized, you mean incapacitated, unconscious, secured for later arrest. You didn't kill anyone that first night. No. The situation allowed for non-lethal resolution. But that changed. Yes. The cartel sent reinforcements. 12 men to a cabin where we were hiding. Then 24 to a ranch house 3 days later. And in those encounters, Marcus met the prosecutor's eyes. I did what was necessary to protect innocent lives. How many men died in those encounters? 18 total. The courtroom went silent. Do you regret those deaths? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. I regret that they were necessary. I regret that men chose violence over surrender. I regret that a 7-year-old girl had to hide in a cellar while her mother's protector fought for their survival. He paused. But do I regret my actions? No. Given the same circumstances, I would make the same choices. Why? Because Sofia Vasquez is alive. Because Elena Vasquez is alive. Because 2 puppies that never hurt anyone are recovering from injuries inflicted by men who enjoyed causing pain. Marcus's voice hardened. Every man I killed had a weapon pointed at innocent people. Every one of them could have surrendered. They chose not to. The defense will argue that you used excessive force, that there were other options. The defense has never faced 24 men with automatic weapons while protecting a child. They have the luxury of second-guessing from comfortable chairs. Marcus looked directly at the jury. I was there. I made the calls. And I stand by every single one. The prosecutor nodded. Your witness. The defense attorney rose slowly. Mr. Cole, you mentioned you're on medical leave. Can you explain why? Marcus felt his jaw tighten. An incident during my last deployment resulted in a psychological evaluation. The Navy determined I needed time to process. What kind of incident? Classified. But it involved civilian casualties. Isn't that correct? Objection. Relevance. Goes to the witness's state of mind, Your Honor, his propensity for violence. Overruled. Answer the question. Marcus exhaled. Yes. Civilian casualties resulted from an operation I led. How many civilians? 12. Including children. Yes. The courtroom murmured. Marcus could feel the shift in energy, the doubt creeping in. So you have a history of causing civilian deaths. I have a history of making difficult decisions in combat situations. Sometimes those decisions have tragic consequences. And yet you continue to place yourself in situations where violence is likely. I place myself in situations where people need protection. Protection that results in 18 dead men. Protection that results in a 7-year-old girl sleeping safely in her bed instead of being sold to the highest bidder. The attorney paused, regrouped. Let's talk about the ranch house. You were outnumbered 24-1. 24-2. Titan was with me. A dog. A trained military working dog with 4 combat deployments. Still, the odds were overwhelming. Most people would have surrendered. Most people haven't spent 15 years learning how to fight. Or how to kill. When necessary, yes. And you determined it was necessary to kill 18 men. They determined it. When they opened fire on a building containing a woman and child. When they refused to withdraw despite multiple opportunities. When they made clear their intention was execution, not capture. How could you know their intentions? Because their leader told me. Marcus's voice went cold. Carlos Reyes stood in front of that ranch house and said, and I quote, "The woman and child are secondary. Make the soldier suffer." That's not the language of negotiation. That's the language of murder. But Carlos Reyes is dead. We can't verify. Check the recordings. The attorney stopped. Excuse me. I was wearing a body camera, standard equipment during high-risk operations. Marcus looked at the prosecutor. The recording was submitted as evidence. Every word Carlos Reyes said that night is documented. The defense attorney's face went pale. I wasn't informed. Now you are. The prosecutor rose. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to enter Exhibit 47 into evidence. Body camera footage from Marcus Cole showing the events at the ranch house. The judge nodded. Proceed. The footage played on the courtroom screens. Grainy, chaotic, but clear enough. Carlos Reyes's voice. Make the soldier suffer. Gunfire. Movement. Titan's barks. And through it all, Marcus's steady breathing, his calm commands, his focused violence against men who'd come to kill children. When it ended, the courtroom was silent. The defense attorney stood frozen. No further questions. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Marcus waited in the courthouse cafeteria with Elena Jackson and the security team. Titan lay at his feet, sensing the tension, but remaining calm. You did good up there, Jackson said. The footage was devastating. Defense never recovered. It shouldn't have come to that. They should have had the recording days ago. Prosecution wanted maximum impact. Saved it for your testimony. Playing games with justice. Playing games that work. Jackson shrugged. The cartel's lawyers have been doing the same thing for months. Sometimes you have to fight dirty to beat dirty. Elena took Marcus's hand. Whatever happens, you told the truth. That's what matters. The truth doesn't always win. It did today. I saw the jury's faces when that footage played. They understood. Marcus wished he shared her confidence. The past 3 weeks had taught him something important. Justice wasn't guaranteed. It was fought for, bled for, sometimes died for. Miguel had learned that lesson the hard way. A marshal approached their table. The jury's back. The courtroom was even more packed than before. Word had spread about the footage, about Marcus's testimony, about the case that had captivated the nation. Everyone wanted to see how it ended. Marcus sat beside Elena in the gallery. Titan wasn't allowed inside, but Jackson had positioned himself near the door, ready to relay information to the security team outside. The judge entered. Everyone rose, sat. Has the jury reached a verdict? The foreman stood. We have, Your Honor. On count 1 conspiracy to commit murder, how do you find guilty? Elena's hand tightened in Marcus's. On count 2 racketeering, how do you find guilty? On count 3 human trafficking, how do you find guilty? Count after count, guilty after guilty. 27 charges total, every single one guilty. The defendants showed no emotion. They'd known this was coming. The evidence was too strong. The testimony too compelling. The footage too damning. But Marcus watched them closely. One of the cartel operatives, a man named Guerrero, was whispering to his lawyer. Urgent. Agitated. Something was wrong. Marcus's instincts screamed. He leaned toward Jackson. Something's happening. The defense table. Jackson followed his gaze, frowned. I see it. Stay alert. The judge began sentencing. For conspiracy to commit murder life without parole. Guerrero was still whispering. His lawyer's face had gone white. For racketeering 40 years consecutive. Then Guerrero stood. Your Honor, I need to make a statement. The courtroom erupted. Order, sit down. They're going to kill me. Guerrero's voice cracked with terror. The cartel, they have people in this building, they're going to... The shot came from the gallery, someone in the back, a weapon that had somehow gotten past security. Guerrero dropped, screaming, chaos, people diving for cover. Marcus was already moving. He grabbed Elena, pulled her to the floor, shielded her with his body. Stay down. More shots. Return fire from the marshals. The shooter, whoever he was, went down. But the damage was done. Guerrero lay bleeding on the defense table. His lawyer was screaming for a medic. The other defendants were scrambling for cover. And somewhere in the chaos, another threat materialized. A second shooter. Near the judge's bench. Marcus saw him before anyone else. Gun. He launched himself forward. Crashed into the shooter before the man could aim. They went down together, struggling for the weapon. The shooter was strong, trained. Not cartel muscle, this was professional. But Marcus was better. He broke the man's grip, twisted the weapon away, applied a chokehold that ended the fight in seconds. The shooter went limp. Marcus looked up. The judge was safe. Elena was safe. The immediate threats were neutralized. But Guerrero was dying, and whatever secret he'd been about to reveal died with him. The aftermath was chaos. Federal agents swarmed the courthouse, every exit sealed, every person questioned. The investigation into how 2 armed assassins penetrated federal security would take months. But for Marcus, Elena, and Sophia, there was only one question that mattered. Were they safe? Jackson appeared at their hotel room door 3 hours later. The shooters were cartel assets, deep cover, planted months ago specifically for this trial. His face was grim. Guerrero was about to flip. He had information on cartel leadership that would have brought down the entire organization. And now, dead, along with his information. Jackson shook his head. The convictions stand, everyone else is going away for life. But the top of the pyramid, they're still out there. Elena looked at Marcus. So it's not over. The immediate threat is neutralized. The U.S. operation is in shambles. But the cartel itself... Jackson paused. They'll rebuild. They always do. What does that mean for us? It means witness protection is no longer optional. New identities, new location, complete disappearance. Elena's face fell. I wanted to stay, build something, in Miguel's memory. I know, but staying means living with a target on your back, permanently. Marcus stood. No. Both of them looked at him. No more running. No more hiding. His voice was steel. We've spent weeks being hunted, being terrorized, living in fear of the next attack. That ends now. Marcus, the cartel. The cartel just lost their entire U.S. network. Their leadership is scrambling. Their resources are depleted. He met Jackson's eyes. This is the moment. When they're weak, when they're vulnerable, we hit them now while they're still reeling, and we end this for good. That's not how witness protection works. Then we don't do witness protection. Marcus turned to Elena. Your husband built something powerful, evidence that can destroy not just the U.S. operation, but the entire organization. We've been playing defense. It's time to go on offense. How? The files Miguel compiled, they include international contacts, shipping routes in South America, bank accounts in Europe, names of cartel leadership. Marcus's mind was racing. Jackson, you still have contacts at the DEA, CIA. Some. Then we give them everything. Not just the U.S. evidence, all of it. We turn Miguel's insurance policy into a weapon that takes down the entire empire. Jackson considered. That would require international cooperation, multiple agencies, months of coordination. Then we coordinate for months. But we do it from a position of strength, not fear. Marcus looked at Elena. Your husband died trying to expose these people. We can finish what he started. Elena was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke. Miguel always said the cartel survived because everyone was too afraid to fight back, too isolated, too alone. Her voice strengthened. He was one man. He couldn't win alone. But we're not alone anymore. She looked at Marcus. You're right. No more running. We finish this. Six months later, Operation Vasquez began. Named for the man who'd started it all, the operation was the largest coordinated strike against the Reyes cartel in history. 17 countries, 43 agencies, over 2,000 arrests. Marcus watched the news coverage from the porch of their new home, a ranch outside Santa Fe, far from the violence that had nearly destroyed them. Sophia sat beside him, Luna's head in her lap. Shadow lay at her feet, his limp barely noticeable now. Mama says you helped do this. A lot of people helped. But you started it, when you saved us. Marcus considered the question. Your papa started it, a long time ago, when he decided that evil people shouldn't be allowed to win. And you finished it. We all finished it. Together. He looked at her. That's how you beat bad guys, Sophia. Not alone. Together. With people who love you and believe in what you're fighting for. Sophia nodded seriously. I want to help people too, when I grow up. Hey. You already help people. You helped Titan learn to be gentle. You helped Shadow learn to walk again. Marcus smiled. Those are important things. But I want to do more. Like you. Like Papa. Then do more. When you're ready. When the time is right. He touched her hair. But don't be in a hurry. Being a kid is important too. Elena appeared in the doorway. Dinner's ready. Sophia jumped up. Can Luna and Shadow eat with us? At the table, no. But next to the table, Elena pretended to consider. I suppose, but they have to use their own bowls. Deal. Sophia ran inside, Puppies following. Elena sat down beside Marcus. Jackson called. The final arrests are happening tonight. Cartel leadership in Juarez. Good. It's really over. After everything, it's actually over. This chapter is over. There'll be other chapters. Other fights. I know. But for now, she leaned against him. For now, we're safe. We're together. And we're building something good. Marcus looked out at the property. In the months since they'd moved here, the ranch had transformed. What started as a temporary refuge had become something more, a rehabilitation center for traumatized animals and people. Military dogs retired from service. Rescue animals with nowhere else to go. Veterans struggling to readjust to civilian life. They called it the Vasquez Coal Center. Miguel's name first. Always Miguel's name first. Your husband would be proud. I hope so. Elena was quiet for a moment. I think about him every day. What he'd say about all this. What he'd think of you. What do you think he'd think? I think he'd be grateful. That someone was there for us when he couldn't be. She looked at Marcus. I think he'd trust you. With me. With Sophia. Marcus felt something loosen in his chest. I hope so too. Titan appeared at the door. The German shepherd was older now, gray spreading through his muzzle, but his eyes were still sharp, still watchful. He walked to Marcus, pressed against his leg. The gesture he'd made 1,000 times. The silent communication of a partner who'd been through everything and come out the other side. Hey boy, Titan's tail wagged. We did it, huh? We actually did it. The dog huffed. Agreement. Marcus scratched behind his ears. You're a good boy, the best boy. Dinner's getting cold, Elena called from inside. Marcus stood, offered his hand to Elena. Shall we? She took it. Together they walked inside. 1 year later, the dedication ceremony drew hundreds. Veterans, animal rescue workers, FBI agents who'd worked the case, families who'd been touched by the cartel's violence and survived. Marcus stood at the podium, Elena beside him, Sophia between them. Titan sat at Marcus's feet. Luna and Shadow flanked Elena. The puppies, fully grown, now transformed into the protectors Miguel had intended them to be. Thank you all for coming, for believing in what we're building here. Marcus looked out at the crowd. A little over a year ago, I was running through the desert trying to outpace my demons. I didn't believe in much, didn't hope for much. I was just surviving. He glanced at Elena. Then I heard a woman screaming, and everything changed. I won't pretend it was easy. People died. Good people, bad people. The line between the two got blurry sometimes. His voice roughened. I've done things that haunt me, made choices that cost lives, but I've also learned something important in this past year. He reached down, touched Titan's head. The darkness doesn't win, not if you fight it, not if you stand together with people who refuse to give up. He looked at the building behind him, the Vasquez Coal Center, 200 acres of hope. Miguel Vasquez started this fight, a quiet man with a port job and a family he loved. He saw evil and decided to document it. He knew the risks. He did it anyway. Elena Vasquez continued it. She survived things no person should have to survive. She protected her daughter. She testified against monsters. She refused to be broken. And Sophia, Marcus smiled at the little girl. Sophia reminded me why any of this matters. Why we fight. Why we keep standing up even when it's easier to stay down. He faced the crowd fully. This center exists for everyone who's been through the darkness and needs help finding their way back. For animals who've been traumatized and need healing. For veterans who've seen combat and struggle to see peace. For anyone who's ever felt alone against impossible odds. You're not alone. Not anymore. Not ever again. He stepped back from the podium. The applause was thunderous. Elena squeezed his hand. You did good. We did good. Sophia tugged at his shirt. Marcus, can I say something? He looked at Elena. She nodded. Marcus lifted Sophia to the microphone. The crowd quieted. Hi, I'm Sophia. I'm 8 now. She paused. My papa died before I really got to know him. But my mama told me stories. She told me he was brave, that he helped people, that he loved us so much he gave up everything to keep us safe. Her small voice carried across the gathering. I never got to meet my papa, but I know him through the center, through the animals we help, through the people who come here broken and leave whole. She looked at Marcus. And I know him through Marcus. Because Marcus is brave too. He helps people too. He loves us so much he almost died to keep us safe. She turned back to the crowd. My papa gave me puppies to protect me. Luna and Shadow. They're the best dogs in the whole world, but they're not the only family I have now. She gestured at Titan. Titan is family too. And Marcus. And everyone who helped us when the bad men came. Her voice strengthened. My papa said dogs protect the people they love. I think people are the same. When we love someone, we protect them. We fight for them. We never give up. She looked at the crowd with eyes far too wise for her 8 years. That's what this place is about. Protecting each other, loving each other, never giving up. She smiled. Thank you for coming. I hope you find what you're looking for. The applause that followed was louder than anything Marcus had ever heard. That night, after the guests had left and the center was quiet, Marcus walked the perimeter with Titan. Old habits. The need to check, to secure, to ensure the people he loved were safe. Elena found him by the memorial garden, a quiet space they'd created for visitors to remember those they'd lost. Miguel's name was there, carved in stone, surrounded by flowers that Elena tended daily. I used to come here every night, talk to him. And now I still come, but I don't talk as much. She smiled. I think he knows. I think he's at peace. I hope so. Elena took his hand. There's something I've been meaning to ask you. What? Sophia asked me a question the other day, about whether we're a real family. Marcus felt his heart rate increase. What did you tell her? I told her that families are made by love, not just blood. That the people who show up for you, who protect you, who stay when things get hard, those are your family. That's a good answer. She asked if that meant you were her father. Marcus stopped walking. What did you say? I said that was something you and I needed to discuss. Elena faced him. Marcus, I know we never put a name on what we are. We've been surviving, building, focused on other things. But Sophia needs to know where she stands, where you stand. I love her, you know that. I know. But does she really beyond doubt? Marcus looked back at the house, at the light in Sophia's window where she was probably reading to Luna and Shadow. I never thought I'd have a family, never thought I deserved one. After Yemen, he swallowed. How do you tell a child that her protector is someone who got other children killed? You tell her the truth. That you made a terrible mistake, that you carry it with you every day, and that carrying it hasn't stopped you from loving her, from protecting her, from showing up for her when she needs you. What if that's not enough? Then you try harder. That's what parents do. Elena touched his face. Marcus, Sophia doesn't need a perfect father. She needs a present one, someone who loves her, someone who stays. I can stay. Can you really? The Navy is offering you reinstatement. Jackson has job offers pouring in. You could go back to what you know, what you're good at. I'm good at this too, at the center, at being here. Are you sure? Marcus thought about it. For 15 years, his identity had been wrapped up in combat, in missions, in the Brotherhood of Special Operations. The idea of giving that up permanently, of being something other than a SEAL, had seemed impossible. But now he had something more valuable than identity. He had family. I'm sure. Then tell her. Tell Sophia. Let her know where she stands. Marcus nodded. They walked back to the house together. He found Sophia in her room, surrounded by dogs. Luna lay across the foot of her bed. Shadow was curled beside her pillow. Even Titan had squeezed into the small space, his massive body somehow fitting between the dresser and the bed. Room for one more, Sophia grinned. There's always room. Marcus sat on the edge of the bed. The dog shifted to accommodate him. Your mom said you had a question for me. Sophia's grin faded slightly. It's okay if the answer is no. I'll understand. Let me hear the question first. Do you want to be my dad? The words hung in the air. Marcus looked at this little girl who'd survived the unsurvivable, who'd hidden in closets while monsters hunted her, who'd emerged from darkness with her spirit somehow intact. Sophia, your papa was a hero. He loved you more than anything in the world. Nothing will ever change that. I know. And I can't replace him. I wouldn't want to. What he did for you, for your mom, for everyone, that's something no one can replace. Sophia's eyes filled with tears. But I can be here. I can love you. I can protect you and support you and show up for you every single day. Marcus took her hand. If you want that. If you want me to be your dad, your second dad, the one who came after then, yes. The answer is yes. Really? Really. For as long as you'll have me. Sophia launched herself at him. I love you, Marcus. I love you too, kiddo. Luna barked. Shadow wagged his tail. Even Titan seemed to understand that something important had happened. Elena appeared in the doorway, tears streaming down her face. Does this mean we're a real family now? Sophia asked. Marcus looked at Elena, at the dogs, at this impossible, beautiful life they'd built from the ashes of tragedy. Yeah, sweetheart, we're a real family. Sophia hugged him tighter. Good. Because families protect each other. And I'm going to protect you too, when I'm bigger. I know you will. Luna and Shadow will help. I'm counting on it. Elena joined them on the bed. The dogs shifted again, somehow making room for everyone. And there, in a small bedroom in a ranch house in New Mexico, surrounded by animals who'd become family, and people who'd become everything, Marcus Cole finally found what he'd been running toward all along. Peace. Real peace. Not the absence of conflict, but the presence of love. The Vasquez Cole Center grew over the years. More buildings, more programs, more lives transformed. Veterans found healing working with traumatized animals. Animals found purpose serving people who needed them. The cycle of care and recovery became self-sustaining. Marcus and Elena married on the center's 3rd anniversary. Sophia, now 10, was the flower girl. Luna and Shadow served as ring bearers, a duty they performed with surprising dignity. Titan stood at Marcus's side, the best man position he'd earned through years of service. The ceremony was small, intimate. Just family, and the closest friends who'd become family. Jackson gave the toast. To Marcus and Elena, who found each other in the darkness and built something beautiful in the light. May your love be as loyal as Titan, as resilient as Shadow, and as full of joy as Luna. Everyone drank, everyone celebrated. And somewhere in whatever world existed beyond this one, Miguel Vasquez smiled. His family was safe, his legacy was secure, his sacrifice had mattered. Years later, when people asked Marcus how he found happiness after everything he'd been through, he always told the same story. I heard a woman screaming in the desert. My dog wanted to help, so we helped. That's it. That's everything. Sometimes the biggest changes in life come from the smallest choices. The choice to run toward trouble instead of away. The choice to protect strangers. The choice to stay when leaving would be easier. Any regrets? Marcus would look at Elena, at Sophia now growing into a remarkable young woman, at Luna and Shadow aging gracefully, at the center that bore his name alongside Miguel's. Not a single one. A Navy SEAL and his canine saved a widow and her puppies from a brutal cartel attack. That's how the story started. But that's not how it ended. It ended with a family, with a legacy, with a center that helped thousands of broken people and animals find their way back to wholeness. It ended with a little girl who grew up knowing she was loved, who became a veterinarian, who dedicated her life to helping animals the way animals had helped her. It ended with 2 puppies who became guardians, who protected and served until their final days, who were buried in the memorial garden beside the stone that bore Miguel's name. It ended with a Navy SEAL who finally stopped running, who found what he'd been searching for, who discovered that the greatest mission of all wasn't about combat. It was about love. Because in the end, that's what guardians do. They love. They protect. They stay. No matter what. No matter when. No matter where. They stay. And that's not just a story about survival. That's a story about family. About finding the people who matter. About holding on to them with everything you have. About never ever letting go. A Navy SEAL heard a woman screaming in the night. He could have kept running. He didn't. And because of that choice, that single simple choice, everything changed. For him. For her. For a little girl who needed a hero. And for two puppies who became the heart of something beautiful. That's the power of showing up. That's the power of not looking away. That's the power of love.